So, why do people reject us? Or at least, why does it feel that way? This is one of the most painful questions I hear from clients, particularly in dating and relationships. And if you're asking this question, what you're really asking is what's wrong with me? And I want to begin by gently but firmly challenging that premise, because in my experience, people don't reject you in the way you think they do. What they reject is the relationship. And that is a very different psychological entity. The relationship is separate from you and the other person. It exists between you. Because when you believe you are being rejected as a person, it lands as something deeply personal. It hits your identity, your worth, your sense of being enough. But when we reframe this, we start to see that what's actually happening is something relational, not personal. A relationship is not you and it's not them. It's something that exists between you. It's an emotional connection, an energy field, a felt sense of alignment. And here's the reality. You cannot manufacture that. You cannot force connection into existence. You cannot think your way into chemistry. It either exists or it doesn't. Now, sometimes there may be an initial attraction, physical, intellectual, even emotional curiosity, and that can create a tentative connection. But for a relationship to sustain, there needs to be something deeper, something mutual, something that both people feel and choose to invest in. And if that isn't there, what's being declined is the relationship, not your worth as a human being. But here's where it gets more complex. Because while others may not be rejecting you as a person, many of us already are rejecting ourselves. And we do this quietly, subtly, often unconsciously. We walk into a dating situation already questioning ourselves, already second guessing what we say, how we look, how we come across. We edit ourselves, we perform, we try to be what we think the other person wants. And in doing so, we abandon something essential. We abandon ourselves. So by the time someone says, I don't think this is right for me, it doesn't just land as information about the relationship, it confirms something you already fear. I'm not enough. And that's why it hurts so much. Because the rejection isn't just happening in the present moment, it's activating something much older, an old belief, often formed in childhood, that says, I can be rejected, I can be left out, I can be overlooked. And when that belief is already in place, every relational experience gets filtered through it. So what do we do with this? Well, firstly, we separate out what belongs to the relationship and what belongs to you, your persona, your character. If the connection isn't there, that's not failure, that's information. It's clarity. It's two people discovering that something essential isn't aligning, and that's not something you can control. But what you can begin to take responsibility for is the relationship you have with yourself. Because if you're rejecting yourself, if you're constantly criticizing, doubting, or abandoning your own needs, then you're entering relationships already disconnected. And from that place, you're not really offering yourself, you're offering a version of you that's trying to be accepted. And that rarely creates a genuine connection. Real connection comes from congruence, from being grounded in who you are, from allowing yourself to be seen, not performed, and that requires something deeper. It requires you to turn towards the part of you that fears rejection, the part that believes it's not enough, what I would call your inner child. And alongside that, there's another part, the inner critic, the part that tries to protect you by keeping you small, by second guessing, by saying, don't risk it, don't show too much, don't be too much. And these two parts often work together. The child fears rejection, and the inner critic tries to prevent it. But in doing so, they create the very disconnection you're trying to avoid. So the work here isn't about becoming more attractive, more confident, or more desirable on the surface. It's about healing that internal relationship originally formed in childhood. So you're no longer rejecting yourself before anyone else gets the chance. Because when you stop abandoning yourself, something shifts. You become more present, more authentic, more grounded. And from that place, connection either happens or it doesn't. But when it doesn't, it no longer defines you. It simply tells you this wasn't your person. And that's a very different experience too. I've been rejected. So if you recognize yourself in this, if dating feels like a repeated experience of rejection, then the work may not be out there. It may be in here. In understanding the beliefs you carry, the patterns you repeat, and the parts of you that learned at some point in your life that you weren't enough. Because when you begin to heal that, you don't just change how you feel about yourself, you change the kind of relationships you're able to create. And that is where real connection begins. If you'd like help exploring your experiences of rejection, visit my website, book a free discovery call. Let's see what's possible.